1985, Harmony Gold was able to do the job they set out to do, sell a new generation of science fiction fans on the animated three-generation epic series about alien invasion, space exploration, and new technology that allows humans to fight intergalactic space battles, utilizing, among other things, ingeniously designed, form-changing jet robots and the power of pop music love songs. But when the second season failed to get out of production and the movie crashed and burned, where was a Robotech fan to turn to for continuing adventures? Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the History of Robotech, Part 3. This is the History of Robotech Part 3. You may want to go back and watch Parts 1 and 2 to get up to speed before venturing any further into this video. For the rest of you, please let me show you to your space robot entertainment and get ready to have some fun because it's time to play Is It Canon? When Robotech first aired in 1985, it was accompanied by a series of role-playing games, comic books, and novels. Over the years, many of the plot points of those official products have come under scrutiny for mischaracterizing or misrepresenting several elements of the animated series. Which parts have survived as canon and which parts haven't? Remember to always be on the lookout for canon spoilers, reboots, retcons, and alternate universes. Let's jump right into round one with role-playing games. Season 1, the only season of Robotech, aired from March through June of 1985. In November of 1986, Palladium Books published the first source book for Robotech the role-playing game. Robotech the role-playing game's first 5 source books generally followed the events of the animated series as it had aired, while attempting to fill in some of the details about terrestrial and space geography, mechanicals, and gaps in the timeline, but also allowing for the freedom of exploration and independent adventure the way any good role-playing game does. However, as much as the creators attempted to adhere to the world as it was established by Harmony Gold, the Robotech role-playing game sourcebooks and companion mission modules were still based loosely on then-incomplete materials provided by Harmony Gold. Errors are known to have occurred beyond inconsistencies with plot decisions when it comes to character descriptions and even mech designs and names. Especially when it came time to publish the 6th, 7th, and 8th sourcebooks, which pertain to events that take place after the end of the original animated series. The question for you, the 8 sourcebooks, 4 adventure modules, and subsequent Robotech 2 RPG, all materials published through 1995, is it canon? And the answer is no, none of it is canon. When it comes to a role-playing game based on any franchise, it's hard to say that any of it is canon beyond the specific details that are used to start a particular campaign. The whole point of an RPG is to allow for organic things to occur for individual players to create new characters and make decisions that might not have happened in the actual narrative as presented, and therefore none of that can possibly be included officially. Round 2, Robotech Comics. Robotech is a uniquely American creation born from the combination of 3 independent Japanese animated series: Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Super Dimension Cavalry Southern Cross, and Genesis Climber Mospeada. They share a similar design aesthetic, especially to the untrained eye. If you didn't know 3 shows had been combined to make one storyline with 3 distinct eras, you might not know there were 3 different properties involved. In 1984, 1 year before Robotech aired on TV in the US, plastic model kit manufacturer Revell had licensed all kinds of robot mech designs and packaged them under a single brand name called Robotech, which had 2 sublines below it, Robotech Defenders and Robotech Changers. Robotech Defenders were designs that again shared aesthetic similarity but were from different properties: Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Super Dimension Century Orgus, and Fang of the Sun Dugram. They did what Harmony Gold was going to do with the cartoon but a year earlier with model kit designs. They partnered with DC Comics to create a 1-issue series called Robotech Defenders featuring mech designs from Macross, Orgus, and Dugram with a completely original storyline, characters, and motivations. It did not sell well and did not make it past the 2nd issue because Harmony Gold officially partnered with Revell to co-license the Robotech name so that the designs in the animated series could all come together in shared promotion. There was no way a DC series could continue to exist when that name was no longer tied to that mythology. Also in 1984, comic book company Comico published Macross #1, the first issue of an official English translation of the Macross series, which in the United States had already been used as the first era of Robotech. Harmony Gold's licensing of the rights to Macross everywhere outside of Japan meant that nothing called Macross could exist outside of Japan. In 1985, Comico quickly changed the title of the book on issue 2 to Robotech, the Macross Saga, and simultaneously released comics for Robotech the Masters and Robotech the New Generation, covering all three eras of the Robotech series at the same time while the show was airing. They would go on to release 36 issues and a standalone graphic novel through 1989 before going out of business in 1990. In 1988, Eternity Comics began publishing comics that were adaptations of the scripts and parts of the novels that would have been the official Season 2 of the Robotech animated series. However, as creative projects go, they too began to diverge from the source material, introducing characters and events that may not have been intended to be a part of the official universe. Eternity Comics was an imprint of Malibu Comics, who were, in 1994, purchased by Marvel Comics, allowing the license to move to Academy Comics. Academy Comics produced 2 years' worth of comics praised by fans before Harmony Gold revoked the license and gave it to Antarctic Press. Antarctic Press would hold the license for 1 miserable year before Harmony Gold again revoked the license, leaving no one making Robotech comics in the final year of the millennium. The question is, for all of the publishers involved, all of the creators and writers and artists, is any of it canon? Think about it. 5 seconds. After all that nonsense, the answer is no, none of that is canon. Some of it gets real close, some of it feels like it is. Some of the adaptations of the animated series probably live somewhere in the middle ground, close to canon, but ultimately there's just too much going on, too many starts and stops, different hands in the pot for any of it to stick. 2 swings, 2 misses, let's see what the novels have to offer in round 3. Robotech originally aired in 1985. It would be 2 years before a series of novels published by Del Rey Books would find their way to bookshelves. While authorship is credited to one Jack McKinney, the 21 novels were actually written by a pair of writers named James Luceno and Brian Daly, who had previously worked together on an animated series called Galaxy Rangers. The first 12 novels cover the events of the original animated series, with each writer taking part of the series, writing a manuscript, and then exchanging with the other writer to maintain style and continuity. As a writer, let me say that sounds like an absolute nightmare, but if that works for you, more power to you. Of course, that should have all been leading up to the release of the second season of Robotech, but that never happened. See our History of Robotech Part 2 video for more in-depth coverage of that. Books 13 through 17 covered that never-finished second season. Book 18 attempts to put a nice bow on the whole saga. Books 19 through 21 take place in the gaps between the original era, so during the timeline of the original series, but not depicting specific events of the original series. Since the books didn't have to depend on a budget to depict the sprawling space epic, since the designs and characters were already crystallized in the minds of readers, they proved to be nearly as successful and important as the original animated series itself, and, to this day, loved by the fans. But the question for now is it canon? And the answer is no. Once again, none of it is canon. As with all media franchises, the burden of canon falls to the main conduit of its communication, and that is and will be into the foreseeable future, the original 85-episode animated series. Each new thing that is released attempts its own reinterpretation of the original concepts to suit its particular product of the moment, the audience of the time, the means of the financial landscape, but none of them have been important enough to overwrite the story as told in those 85 episodes, or even definitively extend it. Robotech delivered a new style of animation, a new approach to dramatic science fiction storytelling to viewers outside of Japan, but fans had to seek out additional materials to carry on the feeling of the world they had fallen in love with after the credits rolled on the animated series. Nearly all of it considered at best existing in a hazy cloud of could be canon, might be canon, but more like alternate interpretations, alternate timelines, and infinite reality that even includes the adventures that might have occurred while you were playing with the toys. Ultimately, it would all serve to strengthen the Robotech brand as a whole and continue to reinforce Harmony Gold's desire to protect their investment, their rights, by any means necessary, which we will cover when we continue in the History of Robotech, Part 4. Thank you for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you are not already a subscriber. Share this video with all your Zentradi and Micronian friends. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy and let us know down in the comments what elements of Robotech you would keep if you could just start the whole thing over. All I know is if any future installment of any Robotech or Macross related thing doesn't have that classic Valkyrie or Veritech mech design in it, then I just gotta ask, why even bother? The Valkyrie is the thing, that's it. That's your moneymaker right there. Shake it. Right?
Cut.